Move over HAL 9000, here comes the Whopper. Hello everyone and welcome to Movie Reviews by Josh. My name is Josh Terry and today I want to talk about an old favorite from the early 1980s called WarGames. Now WarGames stars Matthew Broderick as a teenager named David who almost kind of accidentally starts World War III. David is a big-time gamer and he's also really big into computers, especially for kids in the early 1980s. And in the process of trying to find some new games, he winds up hacking into a system that, unbeknownst to him, turns out to be a major defense computer called the Whopper. Now, this time, the US government, there's kind of this subplot going on where in the case of nuclear war, the government has decided that it's not safe to leave the decision to launch the missiles in the hands of different operators who are down in the different silos. And so they decide to automate everything, and everything is controlled by this supercomputer called the Whopper, W-O-P-R. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that acronym stands for, so just remember it when you watch the movie. So David accidentally hacks into the Whopper and wants to play global thermonuclear war because that sounds like a really cool game, right? What he doesn't realize is that it's a little bit more real than he understands. And so as you can imagine, things are kind of interesting on his end. Things get really, really interesting on the government's end. And as they go back and forth, that's what makes up the WarGames movie. And it's a lot of fun. It's an old favorite from when I remember it very well as a kid growing up. But I can assure you that it's much better than just a nostalgic, hey, I remember this from when I was a kid type of movie. And that's for a couple of different reasons. For one, it's actually very well written. The screenplay was nominated for an Oscar at the time. And it's a good, clever story. There's some really good twists and turns in it. Really, really interesting and insightful. So it's good on its own as a movie. And it's really fun to see Matthew Broderick playing kind of an early version of the Ferris Bueller character without all of the popular high school charisma. He's kind of still, you can see both the characters know their way around a computer just kind of out of necessity. So Matthew Broderick's a lot of fun. Dabney Coleman plays kind of the government point man who's steering the computer program and trying to make sense of what's going on. Sheedy plays Jennifer, who's kind of the de facto girlfriend for Matthew Broderick's character David. So WarGames was a very good movie in its time and in its moment. Well written, well acted, really interesting and suspenseful, well executed, all that kind of thing. But it's even more fascinating to look at it from the perspective of the 21st century, as we see some of the beginnings of what would become internet culture and a lot of the norm for our day. But it's not just in kind of a, oh, that's so sweet and cute, look at how he has to dial onto the internet and look how he has to use a payphone type of thing. There's some of that there, but WarGames also taps into some issues that are still really prevalent today. The idea of artificial intelligence, because one of the main cruxes of plot conflict is the relationship that Matthew Broderick's character has with the Whopper computer. And that's why it kind of reminds me of HAL 9000, although it's not nearly as devious and infamous as HAL. But that's subject for another time, I guess. Yeah, so WarGames works on a lot of different levels, and I think whereas it was really good at the time, I think it's even better and more charming and more fun to watch now. So I give WarGames a solid 3.5 stars out of 4. Definitely recommend it for all kinds of audiences that are Matthew Broderick fans of tech and computers, just fans of 80s movies. There's a great 80s vibe to it that doesn't totally limit it or root it, but it's still, there's kind of a fun element to it that I think is really enjoyable and really works well for families. Now there's some profanity in it. It's a PG rated movie, nothing too much beyond, kind of just a little bit of scattered language and like some action violence here and there. It's mostly kind of a suspense thriller above everything else. But I would, again, highly recommend it. Definitely go check it out if you get a chance. I had it on Blu-ray, so I'm not sure where else you could find it, but it's worth tracking down. So what's your favorite supercomputer? Leave your answer in the comments below. Thanks everyone, this has been Movie Reviews by Josh. My name is Josh Terry, and I'd love it if you would subscribe on your way out, and be sure to leave your notifications on so that you can see our new videos as soon as they're posted. Thanks a lot.